circus and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody, we got the best as an island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Grozile, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And of course, we were off for a few days, but we're back up and running. And we do thank you for being able to join us here today. And of course, yesterday was a holiday here in St. Lucia, May 1st, generally recognized as Labor Day. I think the official title actually being International Workers' Day. And there was, in fact, an event held by the Federation representing trade unions on the island, the Trade Union Federation, and they had a session at the Serenity Park in Sanssouci in celebration of Labor Day. And of course, the matter of fair wages, the matter of fair pay and workers' rights, of course, has been a major one in terms of our very own history here in St. Lucia, a country that came out of an environment in which you had forced labor conditions through slavery. And even after 100 years from emancipation, the real conditions and wages did not change by the 1930s. It led to significant riots and strikes all across the Caribbean during that period of time. Also, the Great Depression of the mid-1930s was also impacting the islands. And out of that, a great deal of activism was seen, and the birth of trade unions, as well as their counterpart political entities for political representation of their interest through socialist parties, or largely social democratic parties. And through that, we saw the birth very early on of, in St. Kitts and Nevis, for instance, of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, I think back in 1937. And many of the other islands followed suit the way of Mr. Bradshaw and his efforts over in St. Kitts. And of course, during that period, we saw the rise of trade unions right here in St. Lucia. I think actually very early on, although they may not have been purely a trade union, I think at the time they were considered an association, but the St. Lucia Teachers Association, I believe, was actually one of the first to be formed back in 1937. And so, of course, the efforts of trade unions and the recognition of the contribution that they have made to transform the environment in terms of fair work and is, of course, very important, and is what we continue to commemorate every May Day. Of course, quite often it's taken for granted, but of late we have been seeing lots of discourse about the entire matter of work and the nature of work in a highly transformative age. So, of course, it certainly does go beyond the matter of wages, and that, of course, is a very important one. We've seen a number of islands this year have actually taken the charge to be able to adjust the matter of minimum wages. And some may say that that's just, of course, a small aspect of the overall system of workers' rights that have to be protected through legislation. Trinidad and Tobago, I think, bringing forward their minimum wage changes as of yesterday over there. The promise here in St. Lucia, as given by the Prime Minister in his recent budget statement last week, Tuesday, is that by August the 1st, Emancipation Day, St. Lucia would have in place a new minimum wage. and that is coming out of one would, of course, a commission which was held or led to look at that entire matter of the issue of minimum wage. Now, of course, the other side of the coin is that of productivity, and that whole conversation about productivity is one which, of course, quite often employers place a premium on. And it was a matter that was brought forward yesterday at that rally held by the Trade Union Federation, and the matter of how to balance productivity while still ensuring work ethic and ensuring that everybody is on board with regards this matter of how it is that individuals can actually do more. Now, even doing more with less will continue to be the call for the capitalists and those who want to see economic growth. The labor component is more and more being excised from the overall production system. And that, of course, we are seeing is coming through tremendous changes in technology. And these are having significant interruption in terms of certain jobs which perhaps currently exist, and we're seeing shifts away from that. And of course, this is the nature of how things run. I mean, perhaps thousands of years ago, you would have had somebody who was dedicated to just writing things down, a scribe, and that was their role, to keep records and what have you. And because, of course, in those days, not very many people, in fact, even read or write. And so that was, in fact, a major job. And, of course, we've seen how typist positions have changed over the years, and the nature of work is continuing to change with a great emphasis on mechanization, which, of course, has meant that manual labor has shifted away from areas of production into certain areas. And so, of course, even those areas where you still have high levels of manual labor, they are also under potential change in the years to come. The agricultural sector, for instance, was seen as that one of those sectors that required large amounts of manual labor, and that changed with the Industrial Revolution, with new equipment coming on that allowed for better plowing, that allowed for mechanization of the agricultural sector. It also brought in other means of increasing productivity, greater crop yields through fertilizers which were being produced. And certainly we've seen a tremendous change in the agricultural sector. And so, in fact, that was one of the premises of Sir Arthur Lewis's work of industrialization in the British West Indies, again back in the 1930s, where he clearly recognized that there was a surplus of labor in the agricultural sector, in the primary sector. And so the only way really that there could have been improvement of the lot of the Caribbean at that time, as he saw it, was through a shifting away from that agricultural sector, which was what was emphasized by the colonial powers of the day, that these islands and countries, these colonies, were really about simply the exploitation of raw materials, which could then be sent to the metropole, which could then experience value-added operations in the industrialized north. And, of course, the point that was made by Sir Arthur Lewis was that method had to change, and it would require significant shifts into industrialization. But even now, in this current era of what is sometimes called the fourth industrial era, we're seeing that, which is much driven by services and information communications technologies, we're seeing how that is also being transformed through robotics as well as artificial intelligence. So the driving of automation of processes is meaning as well that lots and lots of areas are being streamlined. And so, of course, it's not just about what we may think as being the mundane, but even areas that require high levels of skills are also being automated and through artificial intelligence, through robotics. And so we are expecting that certainly this is going to create a significant shift in the years to come. In fact, one of those sectors that we're already seeing that happening in around the world, and there's continuous innovation in this regard as to how soon we will see it actually becoming a mainstay, is anyone's guess, but lots and lots of interest in autonomous driving, vehicles that can drive themselves. And it's already happening. It is happening at the level of perhaps one may say more controlled environments, such as ports, areas where you've got significant logistics movements. In the case of Singapore, for instance, an island state that has distinguished itself as having one of the most important transshipment ports in the world, and is very much dependent, or has developed on that location that it enjoys on the Malaccan Straits. And they, of course, are using just that, a lot of autonomous control systems to manage the logistics of the vehicles on the port and moving of containers from one ship to a location to onto a vehicle. A lot of that is being automated, and they're seeing at how they can become even more effective, even more productive in that regard. So it means, as we saw in the days of old, I mean, if we look at, we had a trade union, of course, which still exists, I believe, called the Seamen and Waterfront Dock Workers Union. And that, of course, when we think about those types of jobs, that has changed significantly when we've seen the nature of how ports operate today versus in the 1950s and 60s before the rise of containerization. So certainly this is the reality that we're going to have to face with, and it therefore means that we have to be beyond the curve. We have to be ahead of the curve, and that is the real challenge and discourse that certainly needs to come out of this whole issue of what the worker of the future is in fact going to be, and the kind of skills that individual will require, and the ability to, of course, as people have said very clearly, it's going to be more important to be able to unlearn and relearn or learn new skills, and that'll be the real asset. That agility, that flexibility, versatility that an individual can have, so that you may not find yourself being at the age of 18, getting into a position and having that same job or being in that very same sector right until the point of retirement. That, of course, is likely to be a thing of the past, as individuals will have to be able to segue and weave and shift and transform themselves perhaps a number of times within their lifetime, with the nature of and the changes, the pace of change that is happening within the world of work. Of course, the matter of retirement is a critical one, And we're seeing, of course, the retirement age is being pushed further and further as life expectancy around the world, and certainly right here in St. Lucia, is continuing to edge upwards. And it therefore means that people will have to work longer. Well, not necessarily longer hours during the week, but they will certainly probably be working longer years in their life. And so we'd have to also see about the future of our pension systems and our social security systems that support these systems for retirement, because it has certainly significant implications for quality of life. And within the current scenario that we're facing with dropping fertility rates, St. Lucia being one of those that has, although we're still a developing country, one can say we have the fertility rate of a pretty old developed country. I think one of the lowest in the world, and certainly in the Caribbean. And so it certainly is a matter of no doubt concern to the actuaries who have to be looking at the viability of these pension funds, including, of course, the National Insurance Corporation in this regard. So, of course, we want to extend a very warm congratulations to the trade unions. Of course, at this time, just recently, on the heels of Labor Day, one of the oldest as well, the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, they went to the polls to elect another executive to lead them. And of course, I think for a new executive has been elected, a female heading the organization in the person of Miss Tekla Goodman. So congratulations to her and to those who are joining her within the St. Lucia Civil Service Association. Of course, it is a very interesting time because, as always, the CSA represents the bulk of the workforce within the public services. Many others in there, including the Police Welfare Association and the Nurses Association, the Fire Association. There are many out there, but the bulk of the civil service is still represented by the CSA. And of course, as always, these associations are very much interested, of course, in ensuring a fair remuneration package to their members. And that, of course, will be coming up given that you'll be expecting negotiations, I believe, for this upcoming triennium period for negotiations of just that, of salaries. And so we do hope that everything goes well and smooth in that regard. And so, of course, all the best to, as I said, the labor movement here in St. Lucia. That's our dish of the day. When we come back, we're going to take in our weather report and then come back to take in some calls.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tells for your room, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tells for your balcony. Come down to Tells Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tells Plus, Tells Plus, Tells Plus. Big tells with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. Need all kind of tells. Come down to Tells Plus. We also got gas and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tells on island. Trust me. We are located Lance Road in Castries, Bosses Jugosile, and Slack Street in Dufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tells Plus.
Island style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style, whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style, oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island style.
We have tiles and thin sets, mixers and ground. Everything you you need to sort the house out. For the best price and the latest style, take a little drive down to Island Style Car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality price, service choice. It's all at Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And also, of course, the 1.1 is now time for your weather report. As of 12 p.m. today, presented by Island Style Tile and Bath. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. The winds will be blowing from between the east and east-southeasterly near 20 miles per hour or 31 kilometers per hour. The weather fair to occasionally cloudy skies with a few scattered showers. And there is an advisory here which reads that small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise caution due to above normal seas. And the forecast for the Lesser Antilles, partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy skies with widely scattered showers. And the weather summary, light and moderate easterly winds will prevail across the Eastern Caribbean region over the next couple of days. Weak and stable conditions associated with an upper-level jet stream and lower-level trough will cause some scattered showers to develop over the Lesser Antilles during the forecast period. And this one's a weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Tile and Bath.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Island Style. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, we'll have to make the right choice. Island Style. Whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island Style. Oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island Style.
We have tiles and thin sets, mixers and grout. Everything you need to sort the house out. For the best price and the latest style, take a little drive down to Island Style Car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality price, service choice. It's all at Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. It is now 27 minutes to the hour of 2 o'clock. Of course, our number again, for those who want to call in, that is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And you can also message in via WhatsApp. That is 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. And of course, we were just touching on the matter of Labor Day, which happened yesterday, a holiday in St. Lucia, of course, in commemoration of workers and the importance of workers and laborers within the economic system and within the state. And so, of course, one such sector that certainly still depends quite a bit on it is that of transport. We quite often don't consider it perhaps as one of the leading sectors, but it certainly is. Whenever you look at the GDP breakdown, the size of the various sectors within the economy, transport actually is one that certainly contributes a significant amount to that overall economic GDP figure. But first, let's take in a call at this time as we head to the phone lines. Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom.
Good afternoon, Mr. Calista. Do you listen to your program?
Wonderful. How are you doing, sir?
I want to do well. So I want to have a contribution complete, then I can say I'm doing well.
Okay, sure. Go right ahead.
Right. Let me explain. You see, what you live on with that. Only one thing I don't like to hear people say, there is the hard treatment. Let me tell you what the situation is. There is a situation where they see the contractor want the mason to do the carpenter work, and then they feel they don't have much work. And then I heard everybody say they don't have much treatment. That's not true. If they have a company, when you see treatment come out, they have a lot of people there, but they want them to do in 2 jobs, and that is very bad. They have to come out and explain themselves where the situation is. So they will listen me what I say. Next one. I like the way that you see this side. You want to say something or no?
Sorry, go ahead. No, I didn't. You like the way what?
Okay, no. What you're talking about the Haitian. I like that they try to organize something, but what I just make a wish. I suppose to say it in Creole, I say just say it in English. I just make a wish that they electing people that is Haitian, not anybody that they elected or anybody that they believe can lead the country, because that will be more chaos in future. That's what I see.
What do you mean by what do you mean by electing people that are Haitians? Because nobody will be electing people who are Haitian to Haiti.
Because remember the one that they killed one, and the first one they elected by American things, because they assist them, they elect their own people. We make a wish that they don't get in security and all that, and then they elect the same people again. I listened to a news this morning.
Also, you don't want to see any puppets being elected.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
So I heard one of the Asian give a news in English this morning. They will never see much changes because they continue electing the same people that is to them atrocity all the time. So I just make a wish that not exist at this time.
Well, that's a very important point. I agree with you, caller, and it's a very difficult situation though, because Haiti is one of the countries that has, I think, one of the most political parties in the world. It's very fragmented. There's a lot of different interests. And
that is what that is shielding the country of his growth, and that is really, when you're watching that, is dangerous. But when I see it's only what I want to watch it. I don't tell you we don't like the American system, but they are against communists. That is one thing I like that too. But when you watch them, they're dangerous because they're telling the people every day they keep us one side of Haitian. They how you call them? They call them gang members. They only touching you see how they attend the name of the country, barbecue. Instead of calling him by his name, stand for his country to liberate it. This is a name that is stupid and is a gang warfare, and he's instead of calling, I don't remember his name exactly, but when they call him by his name, the most important name that is looking dangerous is barbecue. That keep people killing. But I believe all the people that to my mind, that get killed, people that support the side that is not have the country in interest. Because the people that have the side, and when you listen to the whole thing that is dangerous, that country that is so civilized long time already, get it back, and we are just about to civilize. We are far from them, and that's not nice.
Well, caller,
another country.
We have to be careful too, though, because we have seen that there's been an appeal by some to say, well, this is a person who, yes, he may be a gang leader, but he has popular support. That can be very dangerous, Sometimes popular support. You look at in the case of Jamaica, for instance, you probably have some dons that are very popular. If they were to decide to go up and run for a certain constituency, they could potentially win. But that does not necessarily mean that those are the individuals that you want to have in authority.
No. But today, after they like the stand, but they don't like to have them to be governing the country. No.
Right. So it's. You cannot be hoping to espouse to protect people's rights, and you want to lead a country and talk about you're going to be bringing law and order, but at the same time you're doing so in your private capacity with weapons and terrorism and fear, creating fear in people's lives. So that cannot, there's something completely incongruent. It doesn't add up. And so, I mean, we have to say no to any forces who are using criminal power and coercion to try to take control. That is not healthy at all.
Not healthy at all.
So we're not going to get anywhere with that. So
no,
but that actually, the point that you're making shows how complex the situation is, because you have so many different players, and at the same time, at the same time, you may not necessarily want to be seeing some big business owner coming and taking control too, because then his interests may be very well skewed towards a small elite within the population, and that has its own problems. Now, so that is why sometimes the individuals who may be gang leaders who have this popular support sometimes seem very attractive to some, but it comes with another set of problems. So we definitely don't want to go from the pot into the frying pan. To have some problems with that call, but so we're going to end it there at this point, because we're getting some bad feedback. But of course, very interesting contribution about the situation in Haiti as they've moved towards a little bit closer towards actually hopefully being able to elect a democratic government. And in all these situations, the need for transparency is very important. The need for having government to account is very important. And we do hope that whatever comes out of the situation is to the benefit of the vast majority of the people of Haiti. I think it is very unfortunate that we've seen a country, the second country to gain its independence in the quote-unquote New World in the Western Hemisphere. And of course, we're saying so, of course, tongue-in-cheek, because they were independent countries or empires or, states long before colonization. And of course, these were destroyed, these were conquered during that whole period of European colonization from the 1500s, from 1492 onwards. So in coming out of that era, that the quote-unquote period of colonization, Haiti was the second one to be able to achieve that. And they did so coming from the point of a slave, people who were enslaved, right, taking up arms against their slave masters and creating their own freedom. Now, that is something, of course, that's not the history of the United States of America. In the United States of America's instance, they were free individuals who already had a great deal of rights already and enjoyed that. They were the ones who took up arms against the colonial power of the British during the 1770s. Haiti, of course, is a very, very special case. And we have spoken time and time about the issues as to how they it was almost a decision by the colonial powers to make an example of Haiti because they led the way in this whole cascading of independence, which spread throughout many of these other regions of the Americas. And they actively, of course, played a part in actually propagating that. And we've spoken about even our very interesting role here in St. Lucia within this regard. And so it is very unfortunate, the current circumstance that they find themselves in as one of, and it's always also very interesting, one can say, that Haiti on one side of the the Greenwich Meridian, and on the other side, with the case of Gaza, fighting very interesting efforts at liberation. Haiti had it from 1802 in name, and but yet they still, in many respects, are still fighting for this right for true self-determination. And even we've seen, because of all the influences that have come in over the years and tried to control their fate. And so it's very interesting in that regard, what they're facing over on that island of Haiti. And in the case of Gaza right now, and what they have been facing, the whole state of Palestine, trying to find that whole, being able to have that recognition in this, again, very difficult situation of complex issue of race, but also, of course, within this instance of religion, and how they, in fact, are being impacted so unfairly, one can say, in this current circumstance. So we're seeing, of course, a number of efforts now, even in the United States of America. A number of Ivy League universities have decided, or the students' bodies in those universities are coming out and are speaking out about the injustices that are being meted out to the people of Palestine, and how they would like to see their government take the high road on this matter. Just recently, of course, we saw what is it, about 70 billion or so, is it? I can't remember the exact amount, but tens of billions of dollars being provided to Ukraine, to Israel, as well as to Taiwan. And all of those are in areas right now that are facing tremendous turmoil. In the case of Ukraine, a full-blown war going on there against the Russian Federation, attempting to occupy and take control of Ukraine, and they've not been able to do that, but they've certainly occupied a significant amount of the eastern parts of Ukraine and the southeastern parts, and they are getting tens of billions of dollars worth of aid to be able to support their that effort in terms of greater weaponry and equipment and what have you. And similarly with Israel, similar amounts, millions of dollars, not as much as Ukraine, but billions of dollars, being given to them, and even to Taiwan, because of course that threat of from the People's Republic of China. But let's take in a call at this time. I believe we had a call coming in, but we seem to have lost it. But the number again is 4523046. So we go to the phone lines at this time. Good afternoon and welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Hi, colleagues. I'm calling blindly. I want to vent my frustration about that repairs being done on that road going up to Nobe.
The Viesikwi Road? The Viesikwi Road? The Nobe Viesikwi? Yes, okay, yes.
Right, so from Corinth going up.
Yes.
I think it's around 7 weeks that project is going on. And colleagues, there's a talk going around that people have been awarded contracts, and I don't know if they have the capacity to carry out the contract, because that's the word that's going around. And I think it's unfair also to pick up what's been said here and there, and put it out there. But I don't know what to say. But to build like a rubber wall, it takes 7 weeks, Carly. Come on, man. And that was a little relief road that would have helped, and I'm happy that they're doing something about it. But I think they could do much better than that, Calix. In China, when we had the COVID, they built a hospital in 6 days.
Well, you see, sometimes these
we're not China. I know.
Yeah, I get the point, though. But you're right, caller. It's a very long time to have that, and I don't think you see sometimes there was perhaps not even an appreciation of how significant that link road is to traffic flow in the north. But I'm hoping now that there's an even greater appreciation for the importance of that Corinth Vasicry Carriff Road, because because you're seeing it now. I think traffic on an afternoon heading up north is backing up, I think, as far as the Sunny Acres roundabout. You know, it's around the Sandals Halcyon.
Second, Calix.
Yes.
That roundabout here by the airport there. For some reason, they have some. I don't know if it's a dog or people that pass and they throw garbage. I don't think people would do that. But where our pride is, I mean, when you leave the airport as a passenger, you come to St. Lucia, you know you have garbage there almost for the entire day. PCC is going on to the cemetery. I mean, you know, I don't say to put poison for them dogs, but get the owners of these dogs, impound them or whatever. You have cameras there. You know, I mean, that's a stain on our health and our whatever, our beauty, whatever. You can have every single day dogs bursting garbage, and the people that leave the garbage out there so the dogs can take it. I mean, do something about that, because it's not looking good. I must give the government or the administration or whatever kudos for all the cleaning, because I normally call about that thing, about the state of cleanliness around the place.
Right.
I know they try, and things like the roads, I know they block them as soon as possible. So where good is, give it onto that person. But we cannot operate like that. Every time you go around about, they have some 2-3 bags of garbage dusted there. I mean, ministers passing, going to work. You know, come on, Calix. Anyhow, that's it.
No, I think you've made that point sometime before, if I recall correctly. But it's a very important point, because I don't think we have ever taken this matter of our management of dogs in particular, but not, well, animals in general, pets.
Yeah, Calix, I have a suggestion. The Prime Minister, the government, please just dedicate one day as a cleaning day. Could be on a weekend. All communities, everybody hands on deck. I know everybody won't be there, but one day in that month, just allow people to come out there. Maybe you give them some snacks or t-shirts and come and clean the place.
That's a very good idea, Cole. In the case of Dominica, I think they have the day after Independence, is it?
Yeah.
They have a day sort of dedicated to, you know, community work, community projects, giving back.
I think Calix, every month, you know, you have a little something, you give it a little merit here and there. If it's 5% tax of whatever you have to pay or something, every community, and bring in the Plebel village, Plebel road, Plebel everything.
Commune.
Calix, we can do better than that. I mean, coming from the airport, I saw a taxi driver, you know, throwing a bottle out of close to the airport. I mean, where we going, where we are young people going, our young nation, we can do much better than that. And I'm praying. I know everything would be done in one day or 1 month or 1 year, but we can work through it and have here as a, you know, a model.
Yeah.
We get an award for best whatever honeymoon destination or whatever. People come in, not even people alone, but ourselves. We can't see that. That's not good. People can come out cruise ships to come and clean our garbage. The Japanese paying money to have ads to keep the place clean. Where are we going as a people?
And we have to send our dogs to China because to Canada because we're not taking care of them, right? So
yeah, we can do better. We can do better. We can do much better.
Yeah, so I think that is a very important point. But I'm glad that you're raising the point about the dogs, though. That's a critical one because it is the role of the municipalities. That is a municipal responsibility. Local government is supposed to be.
Richard Patrick could have think more on that local government. And Calix, one more thing: the surge that goes down into the harbour.
Oh,
I heard the Prime Minister speak about something like that, you know, in his budget address.
Yes.
I hope this year it will come to fruition.
Well, I don't think that's what he said. We have to be careful. What he said is that they're trying to get funds through a blue bond, right? So that has not even been set yet, I don't think.
Yeah, but the French government.
That's correct. There was a study, a feasibility study that AFD had done a number of years ago.
Yeah,
and they did a full design, looked at the location. Best location, I think, was down towards at Point St. Victor, in the vicinity of where the BGA used to have their hangar around there, by the Marine Police. They've identified that as the best location to put in a sewage treatment plant for the city of Castries. There have been costings for it. I think it was about one of the options was 60 million EC dollars.
And Carlos, the other thing is that I think we should have some consultancy how we zone our land. You know,
Ooh.
I mean around Castries there, by what you're talking about, all these are very price places that could be used as airport and marine.
Yeah.
You can't just go there putting anything.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that we have one of the most beautiful harbors in the Caribbean. The wharf we had there was the second wharf to Trinidad in the Eastern Caribbean. Only St. Lucia and Trinidad had wharfs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when the boats came in, they used to come to tank both at our wharfs.
That's right.
Other islands used to have what you call lighters, carrying goods from
like Barbados.
And I'm appalled to see how this harbor in Castries is being utilized. I mean, in the time of John Compton, you build that John Compton highway there, but you can't have waterfront property like that, and it's going to waste.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to all bananas and going all of that. Look at our booth there, booth 3, booth 2, whatever.
Right.
That's not utilized. I mean, the public planning, or we can do something and get the place, more important things than what are there right now.
Well,
thanks
very much for that contribution, caller. Very, very much appreciated, and very on point as well in terms of the issue of Castries. I mean, we're speaking about right now Global Port Holdings and their investment in the port of Castries. Now, they've been so many plans that have been done over the years regarding the matter of the redevelopment of Castries, utilizing this wonderful harbor that we actually have. As the caller was pointing out, at one point, Castries was the 12th most important port in the British Empire. And largely that was, of course, during the period of coaling. We didn't keep up with that tradition, and many other places were able to surpass us. Of course, the harbor itself has its limitations because of the dynamics of it, and for very large vessels, you've got to have your turning basins, and when you're now talking about these larger and larger cruise ships in particular, these vessels are looking at over 365 meters in length, and so it certainly comes with some constraints when you're looking at our harbor. But there are many proposals that have been looked at in terms of that whole section on the south side, from the old banana shed heading west towards Banans and Cocoa Point and La Toc, and that has been looked at. There have been many proposals that looking at the waterfront as well, and unfortunately it seems as we sometimes throw out the proposals without looking at them in proper context. And the other major issue that we have to speak about, and it's the elephant in the room, is that of climate change and the potential for sea level rise. And we would know that a lot of Castries is largely reclaimed from the 1760s onwards and into the 1800s. A lot of reclaimed land, a lot of low-lying land that is very susceptible to the issues of sea level rise, and storm surges are going to become very more impactful when we actually are looking at this matter. And that's a major issue that we've got to be thinking about now. As to what the solution is, that's a whole big conversation that many other parts of the world are actually having. For instance, right now in Miami, they're having this massive conversation about what to do. They're looking at raising the levels of roads. And we saw a little bit of that going on with in the cul-de-sac area and the works that's going on down there. But we see the implications of it too. You raise the roads, but are you raising the properties around the roads? Or are they going to end up below the road level and end up being impacted by potential flooding? So we've seen this over the years. They've places that have had that issue. I think Chicago is an interesting example of that, in which they, in its past, they had this massive drainage project, which was meant to solve the issues of flooding, and they did raise the levels of the roads there too, and they also had to raise the buildings, and that is complicated, to say the least. Of course, other countries have taken different approaches. So, and of course, we look at Guyana, and they've had the experience of the Dutch and their experiences with dealing with low-lying areas below sea level, and dealing with creating of new lands, reclaiming lands, and building of dikes. Now, is that going to be a potential solution? All of it, whatever the way you go, is potentially very costly. And so that whole conversation of loss and damage and climate change adaptation, is really critical. And I'm not sure where we are at in terms of that. There's been some work, I think, done in terms of modeling and looking at the areas that you're going to have potential greater area issues of flooding. But of course, that's the other problem. If your tide is going to be high, if the water sea level is going to be higher, where is that water going to go in times of heavy rain? And so even that is a major issue in dealing with our little city on a mud flat. And so it certainly is a major long-term issue that we have to address in the case of Castries. Is it going to involve maybe building some means, as you have like the Thames River barrier and some sort of system to control the flow of water coming into the harbor? Who knows what it's going to take, but it's certainly going to be a tremendously a great undertaking if in fact these projections regarding sea level rise are going to be realized in the decades, well, perhaps even the years, we should say, ahead. That's our program for today here at the Lunchroom, and we do hope that you can join us again tomorrow for another one. We're supposed to be having a guest in studio to be discussing the 2024-2025 budget, some opinions there, and so hope you can join me for that tomorrow. I'm your host, Alex George Jr., saying goodbye.